in that case, I'll call the meeting to order. And the first thing we need to do is approve a couple of sets of minutes.
Okay, couple of sets.
One of them are the minutes from December 2nd, 2020, which were,
yeah, I found there, my name was misspelled.
oh, again?
Yeah, oh, it's, can we just leave it? It's a hopeless battle with the computer saying it's that way, you know?
I-E-R-C.
It should be E-E-I.
Right.
Yep,
Sure.
Tabitha, do what you can to try to get that.
Okay. Let Lauren know.
I have to tell myself always it's the opposite of how I think it should be.
So it's P-E-I.
That's correct.
Because on screen right now it says P-I-E, so I'm going to change it.
Yep, it's the computer. It keeps fighting that.
There we go.
There you go.
Thinking of changing it to Simcheck. That'd be easier to spell.
Okay, so
Propose that everything seemed okay.
Good, me too. I agree. Everything seemed okay in those minutes. And you and I and Marie were at that meeting. And Karen, you weren't at the meeting. You still can vote to approve the minutes if you want, or you can abstain, whichever you prefer.
All right.
But let's see. Scott, would you make the motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes of December 2nd, 2020.
And Marie, would you second that?
I second that.
Excellent. And we think everything looks good.
March.
So I'm gonna say all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so unanimously approved. Good. And then we have the minutes of March 17th, our last meeting. Did anybody notice anything in those minutes that they wanted to have changed?
Aye.
No? Okay. So let's see.
Approve.
So Karen, you were at that meeting. Would you make the motion to approve those minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of March 2021.
Great. And great. Marie seconds. And any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, I'll say all those in favor, please say aye.
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 And I don't think there's any opposed or abstentions.
Nope.
So we've got those minutes. Yay, finally, Tabitha, we got that up to date.
Thank you, everyone.
And I will now turn the meeting over to you, Tabitha, for your various reports to us.
Okay, did you want to do public communications? I don't think we have any.
Oh, that's just it. I'm not aware of any public communications. Anybody?
There was a notice in the paper about the affordable hearing that's being held tonight at 6 p.m.
Yeah, the day picked it up, so that's great. We have 22 people registered right now for tonight's public meeting, and it's going to be live streamed as well, and we'll be recording it as well. So I don't have materials to share with you right now on that because they're still being drafted. They're kind of doing last minute changes. But if you have any questions on the affordable housing plan and the process, let me know. And Natalie's been a part of it as well. So does anybody have any questions?
Scott, anybody?
No,
Nope. Okay, so if you're available tonight is it
6
6
p.m.
o'clock?
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you need to register. The link in the paper, there's a link to register. I can also send it out if you want to forward it to anyone.
Mhm.
The one thing I'll say, it's very, very interesting. The information that the consultant gathered and presented. Will he be going through some of that data again tonight, Tabitha?
He
If
will
you-
be kind of recapping a few things, but
Okay,
he's diving more into recommendations tonight.
okay.
So if folks want to see that data, that's on YouTube. And that's also in that article. There's a link to that.
and it will be rebroadcast later, right?
Yeah, we'll have it on YouTube.
Yeah,
If you have time sometime to listen, I highly recommend it. It was
yeah.
amazing and fascinating to me, what the data showed that he presented in terms of the housing needs that we anticipate here in Groton.
Yeah, and I'd very much welcome all of your comments being on this committee, being close to that affordable housing issue. I think that would be really great to hear your feedback, because we're taking tonight's feedback and then finalizing the draft plan for council approval at the end of the month. So it'll then go to council and go through the regular process.
Great. Great. So if you have any questions about that later, you can always reach out to Tabitha, who I'm sure can tell you how to find the recording if you're having trouble finding it.
Yeah.
Okay, moving along.
Moving right along. So 2019 CDBG Small Cities Update. So talking to Andy Woodstock from ECHO, who we work with on the construction management. The portico is in. I had the chance to drive past myself and it looks really good. So that piece is in. The paving underneath it is in for the congregate building. They're putting in new doors. They're like those airlock doors that are going to be more energy efficient and just more ADA accessible. So they're working on that right now. They're also going to be converting 54 toilets to ADA height. So if anyone needs a toilet, they're going to be giving away some toilets. So they're doing ADA repairs there. That's the next big push. They're also working on the elevators. They've finished one of the elevators and then they're converting the interior elevator to more modern standards, modernization. So they have to replace the shaft on that elevator. So that's one of the next big things. And then mini splits for the units. So those are those HVAC units that you'd have in each unit. So those are going in. So that's moving right along. We are filing for an extension with the state because of COVID slowdowns. I'm sure everyone's aware that with COVID, things like lumber, things like contractors, it's just hard to move a project at the regular speed. So there's a lot of delays in obtaining materials. So we're looking to extend the project until the fall. So to the end of the year, rather. Go ahead.
That you just reported on, was that at the Mystic or was that at Groton?
Mystic River Homes.
Mystic River Homes, thank you.
Right. So that's the 2019 project. And then Mystic River Homes was also the awardee of the 2017 grant, and we're still closing out that work, which is the sidewalks and the rails outside of the facilities.
Last meeting you had mentioned about something at the housing project next to the UA Cinema downtown Groton. We were roofing, I think, was the issue.
It's actually, no, I don't think it's the unit next to the cinema, Scott. A lot of people get confused. The one next to the cinema is not part of the Groton Housing Authority.
Oh.
The two areas that are the Groton Housing Authority are Grasso Gardens, that's up Route 17 across from the library and the senior center.
Right.
And then on Pequannock Road.
Yes.
As you,
just under the bridge. Yeah.
Yeah, that Pequot Village is part of the Groton Housing Authority. the name of the one near the cinema is similar, and it often
Ah.
confuses
It
people.
does.
It does. It took me quite a long time to get it straight that that one is a totally separate operation. The town has nothing to do with.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
state
Are you
run or
talking about roofing at Grasso Gardens?
there was, you mentioned that there was funding from one of the grants that was going to be applied to uh, um, things like roofing. And I wasn't sure which of the projects you had mentioned.
Yeah, there was roofing work done at Mystic River Homes. I might have mentioned that we were looking to apply for Grasso Gardens for the next round.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that actually fell through. I was just
Oh.
about to get to that. We don't qualify for the next round of funding because we haven't been able to spend down our current grant to the level that it needs to be spent. So
Yeah.
CDBG, they have these thresholds you have to hit.
Right.
So because of that, we decided to hold off on applying for the grant this year. And we'll likely go for Grasso Gardens in the next round of funding, but we won't be applying for this round.
Uh-huh.
Okay, because we hadn't spent down the 2019 grant.
Yeah.
Right.
Enough.
We have to be spent down to, I think, 50% or something like that. There's a threshold and we did not meet it. So,
And it's really because of the COVID slowdowns. That's
yeah, it could partially. Yeah. And so it's kind of this chicken and egg thing.
okay.
But we feel pretty comfortable that there's a lot going on already. And there's also other funding coming through the American Recovery Plan Act that we're just learning about that could apply towards more affordable housing projects in town. So stay tuned on that one.
Okay.
But and Pequot Village looks amazing. Have you seen it lately? The building the new buildings they're putting up are beautiful. It's amazing.
I have not myself gone by and seen it. I don't know. Scott,
Yeah.
Marie, Karen, has
No.
anyone else driven by?
No.
Yeah, they're all they call them passive house, which is like this very super insulated way of building so that it's very efficient. And they might be able to give us a tour if anybody's interested. Just reach out to me and let me know, and then I can set that up.
We're supposed to have a tour of Mystic Garden, the other one. last
Mystic River
year.
Homes.
Yeah.
Oh, we
but
can do
COVID
that.
Messed up. Yeah. COVID messed that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to set that up.
Would other people, Karen, Marie, would you be interested in looking at the properties?
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Yeah.
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 Because
Yeah.
I've been down there many, many times. It's right down the road from me. So we used to have a study there years ago. So I think I'll eliminate that. But where is the other one? The one you were just talking about? Where is that going to be built?
The Groton Housing Authority. That's the one on Pequannock Road, Pequot
Pequannock.
Village.
Oh,
When you
Pequot.
go by the CVS in Groton,
Okay, yeah.
the Ocean State Job Lot CVS, if you take the left there on Pequannock Road,
Oh, went
just
that
up the
way.
road on the right, you'll see the
Right.
sign for Pequot
Oh,
Village.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'd be interested in joining us to tour that one, Karen?
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be good.
that-
I would.
That'd be great, Tabitha.
Great. I'll talk to Andy and I'll have him lead us around because he's the mastermind behind all the construction. So
Okay.
that'll be a good field trip for the summer.
Great.
Nice.
Was he involved in building those new ones at the Groton Housing Authority, the very energy efficient ones?
Yes, he's
Yes,
working with
okay.
them on that.
Okay, great,
Um,
good.
So that's CDBG. In other CDBG news, we also have a COVID-19 PPE grant that we're spending. I know it's late in that COVID is less of a priority in our lives, which is good. But this is to kind of protect the town and be thinking about the future. So I'm working with Andy again, Echo, on that grant. which is just to stockpile PPE for the town. Moving on to program income housing rehab. So I actually, we have one a homeowner right now that I'm working on a roof replacement for. It's a historic home, so we had to send it to the state historic, SHPO, the state historic, I forget what P and O stand for, but they have to review it. There's a lot of paperwork involved, as everyone knows, it's a CDBG project. CDBG is under, I mean, housing rehab is under CDBG, so it has to apply by all the federal standards and rules, like doing environmental reviews and everything. So we haven't started work yet, but we're finalizing her contract paperwork. And then Neighborhood Assistance Act applications. I just wanted to give you all an update on those. If you've seen any of that going through the town council, we had 4.
Can we just back, I'm sorry, Tabitha, but before you move on from the income housing rehab,
Yes.
can you just run us through again, sort of how much money we have available? Is there a waiting list of applicants? Can you just give us that
Sure.
little summary?
Absolutely. Sorry. We have about, I think, roughly 120,000 available in the account. We like to keep some of that in reserve, like 30%. We have the loan that each loan that we give out is approximately 30,000, which is a loan that you pay back when you sell the home or transfer the sale. We have about 4 people on a waiting list right now. I just spoke to a woman the other day who came in who might be filling out an application too. So like I say to everyone who signs up, we do our best to process each application. We do one at a time, and it does take quite a lot of time with the federal requirements. So it's a good program. I think that it just, because of the federal requirements, it's a little restricted.
We had previously been told something, and I may not get it right. So Scott, help me out with your memory. Anybody else? I thought we had been told that you needed to kind of keep that balance available pretty low. If there was this.
Yes. So that's the other thing that's a good catch. So CDBG, you know how I just mentioned they have all these thresholds, and we had to spend down the last grant. We didn't hit the threshold. Another threshold is our housing rehab account is supposed to be only at 35,000. So we are over that. But that I went back and forth with DOH about it, and they were willing to kind of waive that to allow us to apply. It was the other thing that got us as far as not being able to submit an application.
So is it your intention, your goal to approve some more projects and try to get that down? Is that?
Yes, absolutely. I'm trying to move it through.
Okay. So it sounds to me like there's actually enough money for the 3 or 4 people who are on the waiting list.
Yes.
And your goal will be to kind of approve those if they're appropriate and move them along, get those and get that threshold down.
Correct.
Okay, good. Did everybody else understand that?
That was 34,000.
So
30,
35.
35. Wow.
Thank you, Tabitha.
You're welcome. Okay, so then the Neighborhood Assistance Act applications, we had a town council resolution, and there was 4 applications. Those were forwarded to the state, and they received them on June 11th. So those should be processed in due time.
Can you remind us what the 4 applications were?
I need to ask. It's Avery Cop Museum, Sacred Heart School, Odd Fellows. What was the 4th one? I just sent it. Hold on. Riverfront Children's Center.
Riverfront. And do you have just approximate amounts for those, or a total for the?
I
the
think
whole neighborhood?
the lowest ask was something like 50,000 and the highest was 100 and change.
So 50 to 100,000 for each one of those?
Right.
Okay. Okay, interesting. Do you know what Oddfellows is wanting to do with their money? Again, just a
Remember,
broad brush.
I can't remember.
Okay,
But I can send it to you.
okay, okay,
They're all energy efficiency upgrades, you know, things like HVAC systems, lighting.
okay. And the money for the Neighborhood Assistance Act comes from the state or federal?
State Department of Labor.
State. Okay. Department of Labor. Okay, great. So I'm going to put a little of that detail in the minutes, just because then I think it helps us all to remember some things and we don't make you go through it again the next time, because 3 months from now I may not remember. But
No problem.
anybody else have questions about that Neighborhood Assistance Act
No,
and the projects? Okay, good,
That's
Great.
it for me.
excellent, good. Anybody else have anything else that they want to ask, mention, suggest?
I've got a question, but I don't know where it belongs. There was an article in the paper about the New London getting some 10,000 in rental assistance grant from the Unite CT program. And I wondered if we were part of that.
Right. So that is an earlier pot of money that came out for housing assistance, and human services would be your contact on that. I think they've been working with people to coordinate those funds.
But Groton is eligible for some of that money.
Yes.
Good. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And like I said, Groton is soon to be awarded the American Recovery Plan Act funding. So that's a good deal of money that will be most likely doing a needs assessment for and
Yeah.
surveying the public.
Right.
Go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
No, good. Thank you.
And to get that money from the Recovery Act, Tabitha, did we have to propose certain ways we would spend it, or was it kind of a block grant and then we get to decide how we're going to spend it?
Yeah, so the federal government did some kind of math to figure out how much each community qualified for. And every community is getting a lump sum in two payments. Good amounts of money for things like infrastructure, housing, recovery, for small businesses. And so we're reading through the act, which is like 50 pages long, and we're going to every webinar we can. The Treasury is just sort of slowly releasing information on it.
Right.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Great. Okay. Good. Money, 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 not coming from local taxpayers' pockets. Good. Great.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think, not to give away too much, but Natalie, you were on the stakeholder group for the affordable housing plan, and we talked a little bit about an affordable housing trust fund and how you had said something like, we need a funding source. What's the funding source? And this may be a potential funding source for that.
Okay. Interesting. Great. Okay. The only other thing I can think of, Scott, at one of those meetings where we just approved the minutes, I think we actually elected you as secretary. I don't know if you feel comfortable doing some minutes that you send to Tabitha. I tend to keep some notes and just sort of do that just because that's how I listen, is by taking notes.
Yeah,
But do you want to do those minutes, or do you want me to? How do you want to handle that?
well, I should be carrying a load here, so I will try, but I'd
You-
appreciate if you'd forward your notes to me, and I'll compare with
Okay.
what notes I've taken. And
Uh-huh.
we'll see if we can't get Tabitha something that looks like minutes.
Yeah, she puts them into the
Yeah, the
format.
format.
Lauren
Yeah.
does that, actually. I don't want to take her.
Okay,
Lauren.
Lauren does that. Great. That's a great way to go, Scott. I'll send you some of my notes, such as they are, and then you can put something together and send it off to Tabitha and Lauren.
Yeah, I've
Sounds
been making notes on the agenda here, so.
Yep,
Yeah.
that sounds good. Good. And do know, we do need one or two alternates for this committee, if anyone knows anyone. I've been talking to some people, and there is one woman. Again, I'm just having a senior moment, can't bring up her name, but she is interested and is applying for one of the alternate positions. So that's a good thing in case anyone can't make a meeting and we need a quorum. The alternate can step in and make sure we have a quorum. So good. Well, if there's no other business,
Well, wait a minute. We're
okay,
unfinished business. We don't have any, right?
right?
New business, I'd like to make a question or a proposal.
Good.
Where we're dealing with housing, there are at least 4 or 5 major projects that have been talked about since I moved back here from Florida in 2015. And I'm wondering if it would be possible for the planning and zoning or whatever to give us an update on these housing projects that have been, in the works since then, like Route 184 and 117. There was a major project planned there with housing and whatnot. And I think one of the aspects was they're going to redo the park that's there for us. Then, of course, there's the Route 12 and the Sealy School, I believe, that project in the Groton area. And then also the Sharp Highway School project. And then on Route 184, it was just announced a few weeks ago about 300 new housing units going up next to the Sushikawa area. And last but not least, of course, is the much talked about oral school project. So there's all of these housing projects in the works, and it would be kind of good to have at least a short update on them from planning for our meetings. Is that a good or bad?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And I would ask Paige or John or both to come
Yeah.
present to you. Was the next meeting when you might want to do that? Or did you want to
Yeah.
have a special?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because like I say, they've been going on since 2015. And they were hot and heavy at the moment, and with a large number of housing units in them. So it'd be kind of good to see where we stand and how they fit into our affordable housing plan. Okay?
Yeah, good. Tabitha, I wonder if John Reiner or Paige Bronk or someone has maybe written a little summary for the town council, for instance, or for just kind of summarizing the status of all those projects. What's happening?
Yeah, and actually it's on I'm thinking it's on the economic development website. They have kind of a status, I think.
Okay.
So we can get you something in the meantime with a summary.
I was just gonna say,
Okay.
if there's some little one-page summary, you know,
Yeah.
something just that could be done in writing for us even before they come talk to us, that would certainly help me.
We can definitely get you that.
That'd be great. Good question, Scott.
I just want to mention that I won't be here for the September meeting.
Oh,
So,
Traveling, huh?
yes,
Where are you going?
Yellowstone and Grand Tetons.
Oh.
wow.
So great.
Oh,
I've been. It's
That was-
wonderful.
Really?
Wonderful.
That was-
Love,
And
love,
so many
love.
animals.
Really?
Yeah. Ah.
In cars as well as outside.
Great.
So one-
Okay, anything else, anybody? I don't have anything.
Maybe
Nothing
we
here.
should make a note as to when that meeting is scheduled right now.
That would be July, August, September. What is the date? Who's gonna find it first?
The 15th, I believe.
September 15th?
That's what's on my calendar.
Yep, that's what's on my list.
Already.
September 15th. And then our meeting in December, I believe, was listed as December 15th. I would like to suggest that we all look at our calendars. That gets pretty close to holiday craziness. And if I wonder if we'd like to move that date a little earlier in December. We don't have to decide that today, but everybody take a look at your calendars, Tabitha. See if something like, I don't know, December 5th instead of the 15th, or
So
Um,
that'd be great. Sure.
we did that one other year and that worked well.
Yeah,
Okay.
makes sense. Yeah.
Thanks.
Just-
Good.
It would be the 8th, Natalie, right?
Oh, I guess if we kept it on a Wednesday, it would be the 8th or the
8th.
1st, December 1 or 8,
Do December 8th.
Yeah,
8th
December 8th. Okay,
would be good.
Tabitha, you want to look at your calendar, see if that's, and then you'd have to make it a special meeting. Sorry about that in
Yeah.
terms of posting.
Oh,
You'd cancel the
Yeah.
regular on the 15th and make it a posting for a special meeting on the 8th.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm free. It's okay with me.
Okay, and you don't mind doing that shift from a regular to a special? Okay, it's just a bit
Sure.
more paperwork, sorry.
got a question.
Yeah,
Back to the meetings of Wednesday, December 2nd. The meeting was adjourned at 12:30 PM. No names on that. Should there be? Or,
you're talking about the minutes?
yeah, on the minutes. The adjournment was, it doesn't give a, what do you
Oh,
call it?
no, you know,
First and
if
second.
actually, if there's no further business, the chair can just declare the meeting adjourned.
Oh, good. Okay, chair.
Yep, that's a Robert's Rules thing. So typically, if
Alright.
there's no further business, I'll just declare the meeting adjourned.
All right.
All right,
okay.
to that
Thursday?
end, is there any further business here today?
No?
And if,
It sounds
Seeing
like
none?
we're on target. Yep.
okay, good. Tabitha, thank you. Karen, Scott, Marie, thank you all for your time, for coming,
You,
and see you in September.
God willing, and the creek don't rise.
That's right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Take care,
you.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.